How's it going, everybody? It's the Fuzz, and it's time for another Give the Love to Some Aspect video. We're covering Wisdom. As you can see, there's a lot less cards this time. I had to cut a few because they were like almost playable. Like Spectral Aurite is not that bad of a card, and I didn't really see any way to buff it without making it too good. So we want to focus on cards that don't see like any play. And actually, as you'll see, Lightning Elemental is here because there's an underlying theme that I want to talk about real quick. So let's cover the cards real quick. Electrostatic Armor. I only just now learned that this is an implant. Who knew that this is an implant, right? I didn't know it was an implant, because who runs this card? You can search it out with Field OP in case you want to, but why would you? It's... The main problem with this card is that you just compare this to like Murder Instinct or Mantle of the Winds, and those cards like go back to your hand. So, or Armory Supplies even. This just, the effect is kind of weak, and yeah, you just lose it when the creature gets removed, so it's just low value. For this one, can we just have this like draw a card when it comes into play, or have the same effect where it goes back to your hand when it like creature dies? Then it suddenly becomes decent. Like it probably still won't be constructed viable. I mean, wow, that should tell you something about the card, but it won't be that far off, and it might be an interesting pick and draft. But as it is, it's just kind of a really bad card. Word of Knowledge. This word card confuses me because it does not benefit you by running Mono Wisdom. The idea of the word cards is that if you run Mono, that those cards get better. Word of Fire is absolutely ridiculous with like 3 Rage. Consume Spirit, because that might as well be the Word of Pain, is absolutely ridiculous with like 3 Corruption levels. This card though, like, it does not get any better. You just cycle more cards. You still only draw 1 card. Well, actually, you just redraw. You play this and it redraws itself, and then you just cycle a couple cards. You just cycle more, but you have a whole bunch of card draw in Wisdom already, and you've got Airship. You don't really need this. Like, my point is, I want this card to be better if you run like triple Wisdom, but it's not better. So I think it might just need a redesign. Like, this does not need to draw you any cards. Wisdom has enough card draw. Focus on some aspects that Wisdom is good at. Maybe it could be like a choose card, and you get to choose more effects the more aspects of Wisdom you have. Like, it could be like small effects, similar to Power Dishes, like give a card energy, or draw 1 card, or shock something. But you get to choose more effects the more Wisdom aspects you have, so that if you do play it with like 4 Wisdom aspects, it's a really good card. Shock a creature this, shock a creature there, freeze something, give something energy. It's really solid, and it makes you think, maybe I could run Mono Wisdom. But as it is, I mean, in fact, the only decks this card is playable in at all is like Reanimate. That's pretty much it, because you can discard cards, but because of Airship, not even sure if you need it, honestly. So yeah. Jin Battlemaster, what a badass card. This is one of those cards that it's really cool, but it's just too much mana, and the stat line is really bad, so it gets removed very easily. But on the other hand, it's very difficult to buff. So I'm actually gonna come back to this in a moment. Enchanting Subordinate. The big problem with this card is that compared to something like the Sunborn Subordinate, Sunborn is solid on its own with a decent stat line and a good effect where it does the 1 damage to everything that it battles. And then it gets Lifebound in addition to that, so it's solid by itself, and then it's really good if you have blue and white. Enchanting Subordinate is absolute trash by itself, because it just trades with something when it attacks. But it's a 3-mana creature with only 2 speed. What is it going to trade into that's relevant? Not a whole lot. And even if you do have the Wisdom or the nature for it, all it means is that 1 time you get to actually kill the thing instead. That's not that helpful. You want to know the worst part? If you give this thing a Might emblem and it attacks into something, its stats still become the same stats as that creature. So buffing this with like Kayano is completely pointless. I mean, this card just needs to be better by itself, or it really needs to benefit you if you're running Wisdom with nature. because as it is, it's just really bad. And not only that, it's competing with, there's so many 3-drops in Wisdom now, and that's actually the theme I wanted to talk about, which I'll get back to as well. This card has no chance in a world in which like Field OP and Protector exist, or even Lightning Elemental, so no chance. Frost Elemental, this is another card that's been, some buffs have been suggested for this one because it's been thought to be a little bit too weak. The main problem is the 1 attack. 1 attack is not good in Spellweaver. Yes, the idea is you freeze something and then this guy just attacks into it, but it's still just only got 1 attack. And again, it's another 3-drop. So again, I'm gonna get back to this in a moment. And the last 3-drop Lightning Elemental, this one's actually good, but again, it's competing with too many cards. So before getting back to the last card, we got Battlemaster, Enchanting Subordinate, Frost Elemental, Lightning Elemental. All of them are 3-drops, and they're the bad 3-drops. The 3-mana 1 aspect, that's the bad 3-drop. 2-mana 2 aspect, that's a good 3-drop. Like Field OP, like Force Mage Protector, like the Foundry Engineers. That's like 7 already, right? Oh yeah, like no Power Engineer. How many 3-drops is that? And what I actually want for these cards is take some of them and scale them up. Make them bigger versions. Make them like 2-mana, 4-mana 2 aspect cards. Like bigger, more expensive. Like you could take a Battlemaster and make it like a 2-4 with the 4-mana 2 aspects. I don't know if it'll be necessarily playable, but as a 2-4, it's a beast in combat. It's like a 4-8. And then give it the ability to attack multiple creatures. Now that's a badass fighter. That's what I want to see. With Frost Elemental, just make him like a bigger card. And it'll be good. Like, because of the synergy with Power Discharge and stuff like that, it will be a good card. But you don't really want to play this on 3. You want to play this a little later. And as a 1-3 body, it just doesn't do anything. So make it like a 2-3. You can make it like 2 aspect 3 mana. Make it a 2-3 or something. And then Kayanu could play. They get a 3-4 with a freeze effect. That would be pretty good. So yeah, Lightning Elemental is the strongest of these because it's got 4 speed and the shock ability is really good. I think if you made this like a 2-2, like this would be a good candidate for making it a 2-2 and then make it 2 aspects and 2 mana, but specifically require 2 wisdom, because then it's a very good card, really good card, but strictly in Mono Wisdom. Kind of like Spell Warden is kind of overpowered, but you can only play it on turn 3 in Mono Wisdom, right? You know, if Spell Warden was splashable, that would be pretty ridiculous, but it's not. So Lightning Elemental could follow that, and I would actually like to see more creatures like that that cost 2 aspect, but 2 of the same aspect. In fact, we have one in Rage. It's called the Goblin Looter, right? That would be a really good card if you could splash it, but it's double Rage. Let's do it with Lightning Elemental. 2 mana, 2 aspect, double Wisdom, and make it a 2-2 body. It would be a super good 3-drop, but only for Mono Wisdom. Only for Mono Wisdom. It would be different. It would be played in different decks. And the last card, Magi Expedition. This card is so awesome because it's a giant crab. And that alone makes it... It's a creature type crab. How can you not love that? Anyways, the problem with this card is that it has no immediate impact. And as a 4 aspect 4 mana card, it needs to do something immediately like Karthus or Antriel. Or it needs to threaten to win the game like Red Dragon. This does not threaten to win the game. It's a nice value card. And it's pretty dangerous because it's an 8-8. But, like, Tornado Outbreak, right? And... like, you didn't do anything. That's just so sad. Or Soul, I mean, okay, Soul Flames will cost you 8 life. But still, you get the idea. So, for this one, I'm not really sure. I mean, giving it Swift might be slightly OP. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm actually not sure what to do with this one. But I would like this to be like a cool boss monster for Wisdom. But as it is, it just does not. It does not measure up to the other 4 aspect cards that are being played. It needs to be way better than it is, but without being overpowered. I don't know. I'm sure you guys can come up with something. If you can, put it in the comments. If the devs are seeing this, I trust you guys to come up with something really fun. Anyways, that's it for Wisdom. Not that many cards. I specifically avoided the artifact creatures because they're only bad because they're just missing support, which they'll probably get sooner or later, and they will be good, probably even OP because of cards like Blossom, which is straight up broken, and the Facility is on the edge. So no need to mention those. And again, cards like Spectral Aurite are almost good enough, so I didn't think it was necessary to mention because I don't think it's a card that needs to be buffed. I think it's like a cool, it's a really solid arena card, draft card, trials card. The limited format, I always confuse these names. Like every game names it something else, and I always use a name from a different game. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's it for Wisdom. I'll do another one soon. I have a feeling that when I get to Dominion, there's not going to be much to talk about. Because Dominion is a pretty good aspect, as it turns out, with very few bad cards. But maybe I can find out something else. Anyways, let me know what other cards you think should be buffed, and how they should be buffed. And see you guys next time. Looking forward to the expansion. It's going to be AI troll time with meme decks.